I am extremely hungover today because, England, woo! It was worth going out, but I do have a very, very upset Norwegian wife in the other room right now. So, commiserations to Norway. Anyway, let's get this done so I can go back to bed. Fernando Alonso has been putting the 2026 Formula One rules and regulations under scrutiny again as he claims that there is no driver talent needed to drive them. Alonso thinks that Formula One has become all about pressing one button to use the battery power to overtake the car ahead and, well, not much else, apparently. After the Silverstone Grand Prix last weekend, he had quite a lot to say, so listen to this. It depends what the fans and the sport want. But in the sprint, people were overtaking in the middle of the straight with more battery, so there is not any driver input or driver talent needed to overtake a car in front of you. You don't need to outbrake anybody, you don't need to overtake on the outside, and you don't need to take any risk. Just press one button and you overtake if you have a better power unit than the car in front. And if you're going to press just one button, it may as well be the link in the description to this video so that you can get private internet access VPN for free. Using that link, you get 86% off for 2 years and 4 months access for free. As we know, the UK government recently passed new laws, which means that anyone that uses social media will have to verify their age, which means giving away your personal details like passports or other forms of ID. And we know from past data leaks from social media sites that they can't be trusted with our sensitive information. This VPN will allow you to continue to use social media without having to do that. And you can also get access to all types of sports or other types of content that you might otherwise not be able to access. Private internet access also don't keep any logs, and one subscription works on all of your devices. It works out at just over £1.50 a month. So don't miss out on that and check out the link in the description. Anyway, back to Fernando Alonso. He truly believes that the cars this year are no longer racing cars. It's just all about battery deployment and recharging. Look, I'm no Formula One driver and I'm certainly not a professional to give my opinion on this, but I think he's right. I've said this a few times now, especially after Silverstone. We keep seeing overtakes happening on the straights, and it's literally just because one car has more battery than another. I suppose you could argue that there is some skill in keeping up with the car ahead whilst not using as much of your battery deployment throughout the lap, and I would agree with that to an extent. But you do have a massive advantage this year if you're following a car that is at the front of a train, for instance. Because if you're behind and trying to close the gap ready for an overtake on the straights, that is now far easier than it was last year because the car following now has access to extra power throughout the whole lap if they're within a second of the car ahead, which I personally think is just less impressive, unlike what we had before with DRS only being on certain parts of the track. And the thing is, getting an overtake used to be challenging and impressive. You used to see drivers taking different lines and try and overtake attempts into unconventional overtaking spots in order to get the move done, which just personally for me, I find far more exciting than watching someone being overtaken on the straights just due to a massive overspeed. And I know that we also had that with DRS, but it was far less of an overspeed, and you would see the drivers having to still outbrake one another even when they did have that small advantage of the DRS top speed. And another big difference is, before, every driver knew exactly where the DRS zones were. So if you were defending, you could position your car, compromise your exit a little bit to get a better line into the detection point, or deliberately let somebody else go through before the detection line in order to get the DRS back for yourself. There was a lot more strategy involved, I think. It wasn't just about who happened to have more battery left. If we think back to some of the greatest overtakes in Formula One history, you don't remember them because someone had a huge speed advantage on a straight. You remember them because they looked genuinely impressive. And usually they were done at a very unconventional part of the track for overtaking. I don't know, let's take Daniel Ricciardo, for instance. We all know that he was incredible on the brakes, last of the late breakers, and some of his overtakes in Baku, for instance, were incredible. And I would argue that that is far more impressive than the overtakes that we're seeing this year, even though there are more of them happening. Look at Antonelli's overtake on Hamilton at the sprint in Silverstone. He had such a massive overspeed on the hanger straight because of the battery that he had left that he could not possibly have messed up an overtake. His arms would have had to have fallen off off for him to screw that up. But the thing is, I think it looked too simple. And that's not me saying that Antonelli's a shit driver, because he's obviously not. The thing is, it's hard to please everybody, isn't it? Some drivers and some spectators want constant overtaking potential throughout the race. Others want more pure racing based on how good a driver is. There needs to be some kind of happy medium. Because let's be honest, overtaking is important. Nobody wants to watch a race where the cars just sit in a line for 70 laps. However, at the same time, if overtaking becomes too easy, it almost loses its value. If every single overtake that we see feels inevitable because the driver behind simply has more electrical power available, then it stops feeling like a race and a battle and just more like we're going through the motions. On the other end of the spectrum, a season can be really boring when you have a particular car with an outstanding driver that just dominates. I don't enjoy that. I like close racing, but I like close racing that isn't manufactured by the FIA to keep people watching. And that's what it feels like it is this year. And I think that's what Alonso is getting at here. He has been in the game an awful long time now, so I think you can take his word for it to some extent. He's been in Formula One so long that he's seen the cars evolve time and time again, and the fact that this is the one that he seems to be enjoying the least should really tell us something. Or he just hates the fact that he's at the back all the time. That is no place for a two-time world champion. I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that. But Alonso is not the only driver to be critical of this year's regulations. I'd say that probably every driver so far has had something to say about this year's car. I don't think that there's a single driver on the current grid that genuinely likes this year's car. Except for maybe Kimi Antonelli, because, you know, he's first in the championship and keeps winning. Even Lewis Hamilton is being critical of it, and he's having one of the best seasons that he's had in recent years. So even when he is able to perform well, he still has his concerns about the actual regulations and the car designs. I know that he recently said that he loves driving the Ferrari car, but it's easy to feel euphoric when you're battling for victories and podiums after a good few years of being nowhere near the top. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, please do hit the like and the subscribe button. It is the best way to support the channel. I'm currently trying to hit 1,000 subscribers so that I can potentially get a little bit of the ad revenue from the adverts that YouTube is already putting on these videos. So any subscribers really help. Cheers. Oh, I'm really hot again. Oh, wait, I haven't thought this through at all. I literally can't have a, oh, for God's sake. But Alonso isn't the only driver to be critical of... What the hell? What? The light's just gone out. Oh, how do I actually say that? I wonder if I can use my inhaler through this balaclava. No, I don't think it worked. Oh, I'm steaming up again. Okay, that was a success, somewhat. Oh, I feel like I need more things in shot. More stuff and things. Like some... But...